My name is Lily. I have in front of me scientist Luis. I want to interview you to learn more on chimeras. I would like to ask you a few questions.
All right, so what is your first question?
What exactly are you researching?
I am researching the production and the creation of what is called a chimera.
What's involved in the production of chimeras?
A chimera usually involves two animals, the receiver and the donor, which in our case is the human. First, you must collect the oocytes from the receiver.
What is an oocyte?
An oocyte is essentially the immature female gamete, which is the reproductive organ of females to produce offspring.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Then, you must insert the donor cells, which in our case is the human cells, into what is called the pervitine space. This is where the sperm usually enters for fertilization. Then, you must fuse what are called the fibroblasts to the oocytes using something called electrofusions. Don't worry, I won't bore you with the details. Then, you must culture the NTES cells to promote growth in the maintained environment of the donor cells.
Okay, what are NTES cells?
NTES is essentially short for nuclear transfer embryonic stem cells. Essentially, it just means embryonic stem cells that have been transferred into another cell.
Oh, okay.
So, at the end of all this, we get a human NTES cell that has been grown in the oocyte of the receiver. However, the chances of this NTES cell growing are very slim. There's only a 12% chance of the cell making it to the blastocyst stage. It's a stage in pregnancy. And the usual range for regular cells in humans is 30 to 50%, so it's not exactly perfect.
What good could come from chimeras? Why should other people be interested in the creation of chimeras?
Well, as you know, it is unethical to study on humans for experimentations. However, chimeras offer a solution to this. Human tissue can be implemented into other animals. This animal will then have the same reactions as a regular human would, but it can be done ethically. There are very many applications to this, one of which is tracking cell development in humans without actually needing to use human babies. Another one is to study human diseases without actually infecting humans. And you can also test prescriptions, drugs, and other medications without harming any humans at all. A second benefit to chimeras is organ harvesting. Around the world, there are several people who do not have the available organs to survive. However, using chimeras, a patient's cells can be taken and injected into the oocyte of other animals. This would make the patient's organs compatible with the animal. One could then kill the animal and harvest the human compatible organs from the animal to use on the patient.
What are some ethical, moral, and legal obstacles in the way of pursuing the study of chimerism?
In terms of ethical obstacles, the first issue is interspecies disease transmissions. Some of these diseases, such as AIDS and the porcine virus, have been recommended to be transferred to biosafety level 4 facilities. Only diseases that are highly transmittable and highly fatal, like smallpox and the influenza, are sent to biosafety level 4 facilities. In terms of moral issues, many people argue that chimeras, as part human and part animal, are deserving of human rights, therefore making experimentation on chimeras a human rights violation. Many people also say that the creation of chimeras is an unnatural violation of the laws of nature. There's also many legal obstacles in the way of chimeras, one of which being that chimeras cannot be grown for more than 14 days outside of the womb. Chimeras cannot be grown in the womb at all within the female of any species, and if a chimera is to be made, consent from the parents must be given. A Chinese professor named He Jianqi broke these rules by bringing in two babies, Lulu and Nana, into the world as genetically modified babies, which he did not get consent from the parents to do. For this, he was given 3 years in prison and the loss of his credentials.
What would religious communities have to say about chimeras?
Well, there's actually several religious communities that have much to say about the topic of chimeras. Hindus, for example, believe cows to be sacred animals, so the creation of chimeras with cows and any other animal is deemed as disrespecting their holiness. Within Judaism and Islam, pigs are deemed as unclean animals, so creating chimeras of pig and other animals is deemed to be unsacred. In Christianity, God tells that the body of his followers are a temple of God. So these bodies cannot be desecrated in any way, shape, or form. Creating a chimera of a human would therefore be a desecration of the temple.
What are some unforeseeable drawbacks of the creation of chimeras? What would dissuade researchers from pursuing the field of chimerism?
Well, chimeras in their nature, they're made of two animals. The main issue with chimeras comes from when one of those animals is human. This creates the issue where you have a half human, half animal in society. How would society treat that animal? On the one hand, you have what's human dignity, which is that humans need to be respected, they need to be protected. They have this special distinction on them that protects them from being experimented on. Animals, on the other hand, have nearly no rights. They have no constitution, they have no amendments, they can be experimented on. So, how do you merge these two together?
I've noticed several similarities between your work in chimeras and the Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. What do you have to say about this?
Well, I suppose there are similarities between Frankenstein's monster and chimeras. Both are unnatural creations of life, but I'd say they're very different. Frankenstein's monster is created from all human parts. In effect, he's just a genetically modified human. Chimeras, on the other hand, are made from animal and animal, or animal and human. Additionally, chimeras have not shown that they can be as intelligent or approach human intelligence. On the other hand, Frankenstein's monster shows to be very intelligent and to have human consciousness. So I'd say that for chimeras to reach the point of becoming Frankenstein's monster is simply a work of fiction.
What is your personal opinion regarding the development of chimeras as a study?
I would say that the development of chimeras is an overall advancement to the human race. I personally agree with the idea that humans should be valued more than animals. Therefore, I would say that a human animal chimera should be valued less than a human. With this information, I would say that the sacrifice of a human animal chimera for the life of a human is always a worthy trade. Of course, I don't believe that the sacrifice of human animal chimeras is moral, but I do see it as a necessary evil. However, I would say that there needs to be some government regulation that prevents people from doing things such as injecting animal cells into the fetus of a human without their consent.